What NSFW question have you always wanted to ask the opposite gender?
Do boobs float?
In the bath? Mine do.
Yay. Swimming makes them nice and perfectly perky. Which is fun when you have big badonkers. Cus those babies aren't perky on their own.
Italian guys, does holding your crotch really give you good luck?
It's not good luck, it's when you hear an ambulance siren or someone says something bad is gonna happen. We usually just touch metal like you knock on wood.
Yes.
Is it as convenient as I think it is to pee standing up?
Peeing standing up isn't hard. If you practice you can even pee from a distance or do zigzags. The real problem is peeing standing up while having a boner.
Yes, until the last drops comes out only after you pulled up your pants. Edit. Holy poo, this is getting upvoted like crazy. Ooh, thanks y'all, and don't forget to shake and, apparently, press and enjoy the drops who still come out. And obviously also thanks for the rewards. Men who ride horses, how do you do it with balls? I'm trying to teach my nephew to ride, but I have no idea about the mechanics of testicles nor how to manage them at a sitting or posting trot.
They really shouldn't be an issue. Just like sitting in any other situation, male genitals are higher up on the pelvis than people seem to think, so they don't often get low enough to be sat on. In saying that, learning to bounce with the horse will make him more comfortable, but I'm sure that's true for women that ride horses too.
Lol, that's a good one. When I sit on a saddle, my stuff kinda sits in front of me, so there's no problem. It's kinda like sitting on a chair. Walk is literally just like sitting on a chair. Posting trot is fine too because you can control the way you move and watch out for yourself. Canter is kinda problematic sometimes. I always wear good, tighter briefs that hold my balls together in place, so they don't get anywhere they shouldn't during canter. But good posture and controlled ride should prevent any mishaps. The only times when I really smashed my balls and it hurt was when my horse stopped unexpectedly and I got showed forward and hit the horn of the saddle. That's where English saddles have their advantage, I guess.
Women, if you hug a guy, how aware are you of your breasts pressed against him? Because us guys definitely notice the feel on our ribs.
TBH, I never feel it even though I have bigger boobs.
Yes, yes, yes. It makes me feel kinda awkward, so I used to not press my torso and just kinda bend my shoulders to hug, but it makes it even more awkward since I am hyper aware of my nipples still grazing his torso. It's better to just hug normally and let 'em smush.
Do y'all ladies like the butts of the male variety?
Yes. Definitely yes.
A nice firm butt is a joy to behold. Do your squats, guys.
Do you actually like hand jobs, or do you just think about how much better you are at him the whole time?
It's not that I can't do it better, but the sensation of not your hands doing it really changes things.
Some women are good at it, in my experience. But most of the joy just comes from being touched.
What does it feel like to have something in your vag? Is it just a lot of pressure, or what? Edit. Thank you for all your responses. What I'm gathering is that pressure is part of the sensation, but not quite the correct term. The fullness that I see being referred to quite often here makes a lot of sense, and is consistent with the descriptions I've had from past partners. I didn't quite understand what they were describing, but the detailed answers and analogies you've given have made it make more sense. Also, a thank you for those of you who interpreted the question in terms of non-sexual situations, i.e. inserting a tampon, during checkups with a speculum, and the differences in emotional feeling between when you're really into it and when you're really not. That wasn't my intended direction for the question, but it's still an important distinction and I appreciate you.
For me, it's a really nice stretching sensation, accompanied by the feeling of being full. Not sure if that makes any sense, but that's what I get out of it. I also prefer for my BF to keep it in while we cuddle for a while. BC, when he takes it out it feels emptier than before we started, and it's a weird feeling to me.
That's a difficult one to describe. For me, penetrative sex gives me a tingly feeling deep in my pelvis. It kind of feels like having butterflies really low down in my tummy, and can send a rush up through my body.
I'm a dude, so not really a question for the opposite sex, but guys, do you ever get so hard your DK just hurts?
Yes.
Absolutely.
This whole comment thread is better sex ed than some people get in school, lol.
I'm infinitely grateful to people asking and people answering. Here we have absolute zero of sex ed, and asking anyone is considered infinitely shameful. Like sometimes I just go WTF, are you supposed to be born with that knowledge or something? Having an erection with no explanation of how, why and for what, for years, largely contributed to me identifying as asexual.
What does wearing a short skirt feel like?
Breezy, but when you sit down your thighs can stick together and that sucks. If you're wearing a skirt that is loose, then even a light breeze means that you have to hold it down. And it's hard to bike in them. You kind of have to bike with your legs together or keep the fabric down between your legs with one hand. You can run around in skirts, but climbing and stuff is hard to do without flashing anyone. Also, I hate sitting on plastic chairs with short skirts or shorts on. The feeling of the plastic on my legs is horrible and it leaves a print on my legs. Actually, longer skirts are best for hot weather because you get the same amount of airflow, but it keeps the heat of the sun of your legs and you don't have to choose cafes based on if they have cushions on the chairs in order to not stick. This sounds like a lot of cons, but I love wearing skirts and dresses, they make me feel so feminine.
Ask the Celtic men.
Does anal feel like taking a poo, but with it getting in and out?
It feels like the need to poop. I find just having a finger on my clit is enough to keep my brain from going there and goes to the stretching, filling up sensation instead.
You know, with a finger and some bravery, one doesn't need to be the opposite sex to get an answer for this one.
What is it about boobs that guys love so much?
They're specifically female parts, and we especially like specifically female parts. If everyone had female-like breasts instead of just women, I suppose they wouldn't receive as much attention. Edit. Thank you for the award.
They're so round and, I don't know. WTF.
What does it mean to have a throbbing cock?
It's when you're so horny that your body tries to pump blood into your dong even though it's already at maximum hardness, thus giving a feeling of your heart beating in your cock.
Oh my.
When I clutch the 1v3. How do men not feel like they have a literally swinging weight between their legs? Is it uncomfortable? At least women can wear bras, and even then having big breasts is uncomfortable sometimes.
Our underwear is essentially a bra for our balls.
The worst part is humidity. The balls stick to the legs, so you have to take that awkward third sidestep. Other than that, the DK itself just kinda hangs out. The worst part is if you sit, or lay down and your underwear moves it somewhere it usually isn't.
Chicks with proportionally large chests, how do you feel about your boobs?
I am a 3/4 LL. I hate my breasts with a passion. I would give anything to be a D. I am always conscious of them. I have to wear a bra all the time and they hurt, dig in, are generally uncomfortable. If I lie on my back they flow into my pits, if I lie on my front they push up and choke me. Sat down they create sweat and stick to my ribs and I have to put something between them. In a bra they stick together again, I put a piece of paper or something between them. They wake me up in the night. They weigh 12 pounds each. You ever carried something 24 pounds around with you on your front all day every day? Not fun. My bras cost around $100 each, they need to be custom made. Then I have comments all the time like that I need to dress professionally, because the owning of huge milkers in themselves and unprofessional. But they look hot and I would die for tits like yours, etc., so how can I complain?
I hate my boobs most of the time, they are a curse. I have a 3/6 and no matter how much weight I lose they never really go down. I get a lot of positive attention, harassment, in public that I don't like getting. I never fit in any clothing, I normally wear a medium but end up in an XL because of my chest and the bottom half of the shirt is not form-fitting. I cannot find bras under $70. I can't sleep on my stomach well. They hurt horribly before my period. My back always hurts because of them. Just a whole lot. It seems like a blessing but it's mostly a curse in disguise.
Not that anyone asked, but as a female, I have post-orgasm clarity too.
So, I've talked a lot about this with my so and she says she has it too, but she also stays horny after a few orgasms whereas my horniness tends to dissipate. Does your clarity increase or decrease horniness?
Whoa, I actually did not know this. Is it common?
How can some dudes sit with their legs crossed? Does it ever hurt? Also, how TF do guys comfortably ride a bike? Boys' bike seats are even worse.
Riding a bike isn't bad. Your balls just kinda sit on top of the seat. As long as you don't hit too many bumps, it's fine. But if you are going for longer rides, then you need compression shorts. As long as the boys don't bounce around too much, it won't bother you.
I can't answer the bike question, but to cross legs you need to lift the one leg enough to clear the junk before moving the thigh in. That way the boys can mind their own business away from the squeeze.
Have you ever thought about a female friend while masturbating? Does that mean you find them attractive or are interested in them?
Yes, but it doesn't mean I'd sleep with them. I can value the friendship more than I want to see them naked, sleep with them. That doesn't mean I haven't thought of it.
All the damn time. But it doesn't necessarily mean anything or equate to sexual, romantic attraction. Although I do think my female friends are all physically attractive, I don't purposefully think of them when I'm jerking off. It's more like a mental reflex. My brain tends to wander through the catalog, so to speak, to keep me on track for an orgasm, and sometimes things just crop up.
Do you ever get an erection in public if you see someone attractive?
My question is, don't you see our erections in public? Sometimes just sitting at a desk for a while and getting into sleep mode could trigger a random erection. We try hard to hide these stuff.
We also just get them randomly, more so during puberty. Or when we have to pee for a while.
How do you not crush your balls when sitting down?
Due to the way they hang, they don't actually go below. It's roughly analogous to how tits hang forward, so standing with your arms hanging won't hit them. Plus the way that our hips are built, our legs naturally spread apart, which helps not crush them between them. One of the easy ways to tell a male from female skeleton is actually by the way the hips are built. Women's tend to be more bowl-shaped, useful for childbirth and pregnancy, while men's are flatter, presenting a distinct advantage for rotational power in melee combat.
Male junk is higher up than you think. Best way to answer this is to be brutally honest to the point of TMI, greater than. Right now, sitting down, manspreading to the max, there's almost a centimeter of clearance between the seat of my chair and the bottom of my junk. Less than.
What do girls chit-chat among each other about boys?
My GF shares a bit, and her friends seem to talk about their respective boyfriends kind of how you would expect to talk about animals. Mine does this. OMG, mine does this, does yours do this? Etc. etc. A lot of commentary on mannerisms and how they try to fix the frustrating ones. I don't hear about the sex talks. I find it interesting because with me and my friends we rarely talk about our female counterparts. For us, they don't come up unless it's one of those deep talks and they say they're really happy, have regrets. Major life decisions type talks. I have no idea how any of my friends' girlfriends load a dishwasher, but all my HFS friends know how I do, lol.
We like to compare notes.
If you have to squat in the bush to do a poo, does your DK touch the ground?
I wish.
I just measured and there's like a full 8 inches between the start of my DK and the ground when squatting. A guy would need an DK bigger than 8 inches when flaccid for it to touch the ground when squatting.
What does it feel like to have breast implants?
I don't feel any different than I did with natural breasts. The implant itself is firmer than natural, if you're wondering what they feel like to touch.
I lost nerve sensation for about a year in the nipples, but now it's back. However, I had the implants done from the bottom, and can't feel anything on the bottom of my boobs. I get what I call shockers once in a while, mostly in the beginning. It feels like a small shock. I was told that's just the nerves adjusting. Now I'm completely healed and they look and feel fabulous. I have to be careful about the shirts I buy because they can be too low cut, or too small in the top part and hard to squeeze into. Sometimes I can feel the bag with my fingers underneath towards the bottom where the skin is thin. I also had to say goodbye to sleeping on my stomach. It hurts if the air getting crushed.
Have you ever imagined yourself as the opposite sex?
All the time, lol.
This is kind of a question for everyone. Does semen tingle on your tongue or in your throat? This happens to me when I swallow cum. For a while I thought I was weird or had a mild allergy to it. However, once one of my past partners tasted his cum and he was like, "What the F? Why is it tingly? Is this normal? Do none of us talk about it?"
It's really dependent on what your partner consumes. I once only ate seafood, pineapple and greens for a few days, then after my GF and I did it, she said my cum tasted really sweet like sugar water and she loved it. But it's a hard diet to keep and I just stick to white meat and greens and anything that's good for the body, except broccoli. I've read it's the only vegetable that affects the taste in a negative way. Smoking and drinking and DG in general have an immensely negative effect on the taste, so if your partner does any of that it could be a cause. I've always tried my best to make swallowing enjoyable for my GF so she likes it as well instead of it being a one-way pleasure.
So do you feel the blood rush to her PP?
No, it feels more like a muscle that just gets bigger. To get into details, more often than not you just all of a sudden realize it's hard. Sometimes it's not even sexual and you just have it be a bit hard for no reason. This is particularly embarrassing when you're in gym class wearing shorts and need to get up. Sometimes we just wait out the boner till it fades away. There are other times, however, when you are watching something that is slowly getting you excited and you do actually feel it balloon. You don't actually feel the penis fill with blood, you just feel your penis feel like it has less space in your underwear. You feel the fabric push against it. You also feel this excitement behind where your groin is. On top of that, you usually have a little sensation around your balls. You breathe slightly heavier, though it is very subtle, and your heart races a bit more.
Yes, and sometimes if you want to make your decay pulse, you can flex it and send more blood rushing down, which causes it to jump and flex. Honestly, makes me laugh to hang a towel on it and make it jump around a bit.
Girls, do you ever have fantasies and or masturbate to your male friends?
Yes. Before I got with my husband, I fantasized about him a lot.
Yes, I tend to think of anyone I find attractive, even if I have no desire to sleep with them. My mind tends to go 100 miles a minute when I masturbate, which can turn me off pretty quickly. But that does mean many friends make an appearance. The sweet spot is someone I can imagine having sex with, who is not a super close friend.
How does it feel to be the one sucking DK? Edit, I'm not going to reply to anything because there's just too many things. By the way, thanks for all the upvotes. Smiley face.
It can be a lot of work if he takes a long time, you're in an awkward position, or if you have a sensitive gag reflex.
It's physically exhausting. You have to find a comfortable position that lets you move your head and add a hand. Your neck and shoulders get so sore. My jaw does a weird thing that feels like it pops out of place when I open my mouth too far, so I have this added worry the whole time that my jaw will get stuck. Jaw pain is insane if it takes too long. My lips get sore, and if saliva is too thin it feels dry and irritates my lips. Guys, please wash your undercarriage as much as you'd expect a lady to wash hers for you. All complaints aside, it's worth it when I feel him grabbing up on me. That shift from, yeah this is nice, to the focused, I'm on a mission to finish, the little sounds and heavy breathing. I can't speak for all women, but for me, guys are far too quiet and seem to not make the connection that when you tell a woman you enjoy getting her off, she's gonna emphasize natural vocal responses a bit for your pleasure. So when a woman says the same, please make some damn sound so we know how we're doing and can enjoy it too.
Why do dudes not feel the need to stay in touch with their perceived best friends?
At least with my best friend, it's that we're like brothers, family. Even if I don't talk to him for a long time, he's still my brother and we've still been through a lot together and still love each other. I don't feel like I need constant validation from him to know he still likes me, which is why he's my best friend.
TBH, I thinks it because we have no expectations of each other. If I send one of my good friends a message and it takes them a few days to get back to me, it's because they've most likely got poo going on. If it was urgent, I'd call them and leave a voice message explicitly stating that I needed help with something, so they knew there was a bit of a time pressure. Best example of this was when my best friend wanted me to be the godfather for his daughter. He kept trying to get me to come play golf with him so he could ask me in person. But I kept brushing him off due to exams, assignments. Eventually he just called me and said he wanted to ask me in person and that he needed an answer in 2 days so things could be arranged. I apologized for effing up his plans and we went and got drunk to celebrate.
I've always wondered how much women value confidence in a guy.
Several of my lady friends, including So, told me that confidence, and the competence to justify it, is very attractive. Especially if the person in question isn't _loud about it, if that makes sense. I've heard it being called quiet confidence, when you don't make a big deal of doing difficult things, just doing it, instead of going _yo check me out doing a backflip off this booter, _.
There's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. Sex in the shower, what are the pros and cons? Edit. Holy poo guys, stop commenting. I have hundreds of comments to read through and they come in faster than I can read them.
Water is not an effective lubricant.
It's overrated. It's a fun place for foreplay, then get out and get busy.
Do you ever just fondle your boobs? Asking for research purposes.
Sometimes I just rest my hand in between my boobs because it's warm. I guess like how guys just have their hand in their pants to keep warm too.
How else are we supposed to know it's raining?
What does it actually mean when girls say, I've started my period? Does it just mean you start bleeding or pains or something like that?
Bleeding. Pain usually starts before.
Ladies, do you ever do that thing where you imagine being with someone and then start sabotaging it by noticing all the things that wouldn't work? Wait, that's not NSFW. Do you ever get done masturbating and you're like, WTF was I even masturbating to? That wasn't fulfilling at all and I feel empty inside.
Yes and yes. The first one is more involuntary though, the mind just wanders.
Yup, although for me it's more like, okay, now we're masturbating. Let's start with some sexy thoughts. Sex on the boardroom table. Someone I work with handing me a stapler. I wonder how they glue the staples together. I wonder what happens to all the used staples in the world. Focus, sexy thoughts, etc. until I either just get bored or decide that I'm okay with masturbating to the idea of staples or whatever the thought of the moment was.
When you put a tampon on, the little string just hangs there like a piñata, or do you cut it?
It hangs, it's there so one can grab the string and pull the tampon out when its watch has ended.
Hangs, but I tuck it up when I pee so I'm not walking around with a wet rope.
How do you wipe your ass with those long acrylic nails?
Same way, you just gotta be careful. One time I stabbed my coochie with my stiletto nail and that hurt like a bitch. But yeah, no, same way that people with short nails do.
Is it really fries before guys?
Yes. For years I turned down suitors because their dates always conflicted with my daily fry time. I could not relinquish my evening potato soiree for a guy, no matter how charming he may have been. I spent many years with only my fries for comfort until one day, a suitor approached me. As I lifted my hand to wave him away, I noticed he had a silver platter, and upon it a plate of crunchy, golden tendrils. I stopped cold in my tracks. Could it be fries and guys? Is such a concept even possible? Before my mind could comprehend the situation, the man sat the platter between us, a saucer of crimson ketchup next to my beloved fry. He gingerly pinched a fry between his fingers, dipped the end into the red sauce like he had been practicing all his life, and presented it before me. Yes, I thought, it is possible. I have finally met the man who comes close to matching the glory of a crisped, delicate fry.
Indubitably.
Why can't I use the top step on a ladder? I have like super good balance.
A frame ladders are very stable until you are about 2/3 of the way up. The danger isn't so much of the ladder collapsing but the weight shifting along the left-right direction from the perspective of the person climbing it. Imagine you have tall drinking glass in your hand outstretched, palm up. It's fairly easy to balance it, even as you move your hand around, as the whole weight of the glass is near the palm or the weight of the ladder to the ground, in this analogy. Now you put some water in the glass. It's still pretty stable because all the weight is still near the palm. Dump out the glass and this time put an apple on the top of the glass that weighs just as much as the water did. You'll find it is harder to control because now the center of the weight is now somewhere along the midpoint of the glass. Now, a glass would be easier to balance than in a frame ladder shape because the A-frame ladder is only stable in one direction, the way it is intended to be used as steps. Where the glass is cylindrical and stable equally in all directions. However, you can easily push a ladder over with one finger if you push from the left or right side high enough up. Another way to think of it is that the ladder is acting like a lever. The longer the lever, the more the mechanical advantage. You have a wider arc of movement but it takes less force to move it overall. I hope that made sense. It's 5 AM and I should have been asleep hours ago.
As a theatrical electrician who's been atop 60-foot ladders working on 15-pound lighting units, all I can say is, get good scrub.
How do I flirt? No, I am being flirted with. How do I make myself look more approachable? And how do I get out of bronze 1 in League of Legends cause goddamn I suck ass?
Well, I have some amazing or terrible news for you, depending on how you look at it. Scientifically, the average person does not know when they are being flirted with. And the average person is bad at flirting. So you are not alone and everyone is just stumbling around blindly.
Okay, so, for your first question, stop playing League. As for your second one, stop playing League.
How bad do blue balls hurt?
It's kind of a dull, atchy feeling, but it can range from annoying to painful.
To women, Steam is full of erotic games for men. If you could get an erotic game made for you, what would it be? Or would you even be into erotic games?
Steam has Seduce Me, the Otome, and its sequel. There are some BL games also, some more explicit than others, and my understanding is that a large proportion of their audience is female. Cloud Meadow is a monster breeder game that lets you be male or female, and has male and female sex interest. Love interest options, though the game might be an eternal beta. The curse of Patreon is that it financially incentivizes getting levels done slowly. I think D3 publishers are on Steam also, if I remember correctly, and their stuff can get pretty racy. There are a lot of dating games, especially visual novels, aimed at women. Admittedly, many of them are R-rated and not X-checkout, Otome, and I think, Josei, if I remember correctly, as search terms. PS Vita's Otome Torch is being picked up by the Nintendo Switch, and of course, there are phone games aplenty. Some racier than others, though I don't know of any off the top of my head that are pure erotica.
I honest to God wish there were husbando games about just straight seducing guys and having a reverse harem, like guys get to have with their waifu games. Not all of us want that sappy romantic single guy storyline where the guy seduces me. And even those are rare on Steam. It sucks.
Why do women fake orgasms?
Because you're feeling great but no, you're just not going to get there that time. It's no one's fault, sometimes the old brain gets in the way. A lot of men can't handle that concept, and so will F until we're raw and sore and still ain't going to come.
To get to the other side.
Circumcised penises, what do you ladies think of them? What about during sex?
Doesn't change a thing.
It really doesn't change anything.
For ladies, how on earth do you bring yourself to have kids? It's so scary, I don't know how a human could ever voluntarily do that to themselves.
It's terrifying. There are so many things that can go wrong. But in the end it's only 9 months. It becomes a part of the child's story and it's no longer the focus. The child is. We never forget the pain or uncomfortable moments, but they don't matter when compared to the joy afterwards. Very Machiavellian.
We don't. I've spent most of my adult life terrified of pregnancy.
How many Bakugan can you fit in your asshole?
Open or closed?
Ooh. Asking the important questions.
What's the equivalent of a man's nut kick for you lot? PPL are talking about periods a lot, so I just want to clear things up. Vital spots you can hit to cause max pain.
I've racked myself on a split slide once and got hit right in the clit. I couldn't walk for a good 5 minutes and my face was really hot from the pain. Does that count?
Elbow in the boob hurts like AB*******. Like the center part under the nipple hurts a lot, and women's soccer is a cruel sport that will teach any teenage girl that.
Do guys actually think we can't see them scratching or adjusting their junk? Or is it kind of an immediate need outweighs potentially embarrassing situation? Edit, okay guys, I get it. Balls get sweaty. Or pinched, itchy, twisted, lonely. Everyone can and should adjust their clothing if it's uncomfortable. I don't care if y'all do a quick discreet clothing adjustment. But you have to admit there's plenty of ball scratchers out there that are digging for gold and don't care who can see. I guess I was confused because I've noticed a deer in headlights look during or post adjustments.
I try to do it when people can't see, but it's quite immediate and you just can't stop thinking about it.
Either we do not think you see it or we're so comfortable with you around that we don't care. There are situations where we need to adjust things immediately though. That's when it can get kind of embarrassing.
Guys who don't care whether their partner orgasms, why not?
Some guys don't care, and those are usually the selfish assholes. I personally cannot fully enjoy sex if I don't get my partner to orgasm. If I can't get the job done with my tool, then I will use my mouth.
Why the F don't you just let me order your own fries so you don't eat all mine?
I asked my wife this once. Her response was that she didn't want a full order of fries, she only wants just a few. So from then on, I just order one size up from what I want. That way she gets some fries and I'm still left with the amount I wanted, or I get to see the look of horror on her face as I throw them away.
What are your thoughts on the path the Russian government seems to be heading? And #X200B. I made this comment as a joke, and now I have learned a lot about Russia, oh my.
To understand Russian politics you have to know Russian history. Many Russians still feel nostalgic for Soviet times, and it's not as strange as it may seem. After fall of USSR, there was an increase in poverty, high unemployment, the scourge of de-addiction, organized crime. Some sold their orders and medals to earn something. I recommend a book *Secondhand Time. The Last of the Soviets* by Svetlana Alexievich on that topic. It is a collection of interviews with Soviet people after the collapse of the empire. It can be eye-opening on mentality of those people, struggles they went through. USSR was a totalitarian state, but also order was respected. People had jobs, the empire was respected in the world. Despite all the crimes and terror, many people brought up in those times believed deeply in a new, better world, where people were to be equal, where even a son of a worker could go into space. Yeltsin wanted to cut off the new state from the Soviet heritage, but it didn't work out. Putin, on the other hand, misses Soviet times like many Russians. He once called the 1991 Soviet fall, the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of XX Centauri. Russia rejected communism, but Putin focused on introducing other aspects of the power state, like hegemonism and state enforcement of order. When countries such as Georgia and Ukraine began to sneak out of Russia's sphere of influence, the Russian authorities reacted with aggression. They feel threatened by the growing influence of NATO in these regions. The authorities use propaganda, including high-profile historical policy, in response to allegations from former Eastern Bloc countries such as Poland and the Baltic states, which drew attention to communist crimes in Europe. The Great Patriotic War 1941–1945, defeating Hitler at the cost of enormous losses, plays a very important role in shaping Russian identity even today. Many young Russians today, as in other countries, are more liberal than the older generations. For example, there are many interesting artists addressing the problems of the contemporary state. On the other hand, it is naive to believe that Russia would suddenly turn into a tolerant, democratic state like European countries. In fact, Russian government is not really heading anywhere. It's been like that for most of its history. The political and social system has been shaped there for centuries. It will not suddenly change just like that. Personally, I think that this is a fascinating topic. I am writing a bachelor thesis related to modern Russia and its relations with my country. If anyone would like to join the discussion, I am very eager. And sorry for a long comment, I know the question was more of a joke smiley face.
Oh no. Please don't apologize. This was very interesting to read. All of the replies I have gotten were interesting. Definitely not what I was expecting from a joke comment lol, but anyways. I actually quite love history, so this was pretty cool. I unfortunately haven't done much in the ways of Russian history, so thanks. And also thanks for the book recommendation, I will check that out. And also good luck on your bachelor thesis.
That question is NSFR.
Thank you for watching. We upload new videos every day, so be sure to come back for more fun. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video.